Over 80 years ago, there was a man that they called the sleeping prophet that had such a staggering vision of 2027 that he kept it secret for decades until now. He wasn't speaking from his own intellect, he was actually tapping into a divine stream of information, of consciousness, if you will, a revelation of what God had intended for the future of the human soul. What was revealed wasn't a Hollywood apocalypse, but a cosmic deadline. Starting in 2027, the vision suggests we are entering a threshold where the physical world and the spiritual world collide. If you've felt a building pressure beneath the surface of your life, I guess that isn't just an anxiety. That's your soul recognizing a divine shift and your brain hasn't caught up yet. Welcome to the threshold. Today we'll explore what the Spirit had revealed about the year 2027 and how to reclaim your soul sovereignty in the middle of this storm. Welcome back, all you wandering souls, to the Wandering Soul Podcast. My name is Vince, and this is our 11th episode. Sorry I'm a little late at getting this out, but releasing this because I've had some software issues and some hardware issues go along with a lot of different work. But I'm glad I'm actually getting excited to finally release this. And before we get started, I'd like to ask you to like and subscribe so I could kind of spread this word as far and wide as possible. Today's episode is a follow-on to my last episode, so if you haven't really seen that, it's about the 2026 prophecy. I'll link that up here somewhere. And this prophecy that we're talking about today is a follow-on to the 2026 prophecy. So the Creator, again, wanted me to emphasize your soul sovereignty. And as we're entering into a very important cycle of life here on this amazing planet, in this follow-on prophecy from 2027 through, I believe, 2032, and I pray will give you a real sense of urgency as to why you must reclaim your soul sovereignty now and the importance of who we really are. Before I explain this prophecy, I'd like to leave you with 4 truths of what humanity is truly capable of, I believe. And number 1 is, do you believe we have the capability of abundance for all, of what is truly needed to survive? And I think that answer is a yes. Do you believe we have the ability to feed everyone, perhaps with technologies we aren't aware of yet? That answer too is yes. Do you believe we can provide energy and power to this planet with a low cost or effectively a zero cost? Absolutely yes. And finally, do you believe the Creator has given us the ability to heal ourselves as well as perhaps understand and use technologies that assist in healing us? Especially if we stop poisoning our food supply? Most definitely. This 2027 prophecy centers around this karmic cycle, this 250-year period of rotational justice, for want of a better word. God showed the messenger that nations, like people, must eventually account for what they've sown. This is why, if you're paying attention, that you see the world in such turmoil right now. So many different things are changing. Systems of governments are changing, financial systems are changing, energy systems, there's educational systems. There's just so much change coming in the next 5 years. And this year, 2027, kind of falls exactly 250 years from the birth of America's first formal government, and that was in 1777. While that era planted seeds of extraordinary light and freedom, it also carried shadows of systemic oppression and the cries of the displaced. The divine message is clear. The cycle does not forget. Everything buried must surface so it can be healed. This mirrors the eternal truth found in Galatians 6:7. Do not be deceived, for God cannot be mocked. A man reaps what he sows. As we approach 2027, we aren't just facing political unrest, which is clearly obvious. We're facing a divine reaping. Contradictions in our foundation are surfacing not as punishment, but as an opportunity for honest accounting to the Creator. In this vision, God revealed that Earth is not inert matter. It is a living vessel for the Spirit. And by 2027, that land itself will begin to breathe and to shift, releasing stored emotional trauma of centuries. These aren't random disasters. They're the physical world adjusting to a higher spiritual frequency. But the shift moves from the soil into our very systems of value. See, between 2028 and 2030, the prophecy foretells the collapse of the great economic illusion. The Spirit revealed a moment where the veil lifts and millions realize that currency is merely a shared fiction. When the numbers in a bank account lose their perceived value, their power, your only true currency is your character and your skills, and what is in your soul. This is a call to live out Matthew 6, verses 19 to 20. Do not store up for yourselves treasures on earth, for moths and vermin destroy, but store up for yourselves treasures in heaven. For those who have already invested in the Spirit and community, this won't be a collapse, but this will be a liberation from a false master. Perhaps the most profound part of what God revealed is this great revealing between 2029 and 2031. This is a literal rupture in our perception of reality, that is. The Spirit showed a time when the unseen becomes seen. Experiences of telepathy, the perception of energy fields, and the activation of deep soul memories will become commonplace. However, the prophecy warns that the old guard, those that cling to worldly power, will try to pathologize this awakening. They will call it a crisis. They will try to medicate the spirit out of our people. So this is the ultimate test of your soul sovereignty. To navigate this, you must be spiritually sovereign and understand who you truly are inside, answering only to the divine spark within you. As we are reminded in 2 Timothy 1:7, for God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power and love and of sound mind. Sovereignty means refusing to let external authorities define your reality when God is showing you the truth directly. So what's the divine goal? By 2032, the prophecy sees a new form of leadership emerging. Communities led by wisdom keepers, I guess, for want of a better word. These are individuals who demonstrated that during the crisis that they could hold God's peace while others panicked. The vision also highlights bridge souls, a generation that was born for this specific transition. They are naturally adapted to this new multidimensional reality. If you feel incompatible with the world as it is today, the message for you is you're not broken. You're perhaps a bridge. The final instruction from the Spirit is to prepare for love, not fear. Hoarding out of panic creates scarcity, but preparing out of love creates sanctity. As it says in 1 John chapter 4, verse 18, there is no fear in love, but perfect love drives out fear. The threshold of 2027 is a divine invitation. The world as we know it may be fading, but the kingdom within is just beginning to surface. So let me leave you with this. So as the world approaches this threshold, remember something important. Prophecy was not meant to trap humanity. It was meant to wake us up. Because the real question is never what will happen in 2027. The real question is who will you choose to become when it arrives? Will you cling to this illusion of reality, or will you step into your soul sovereignty God placed inside you long ago? Because you see, when the noise fades, when the systems shake, when the veil begins to lift, the only thing that will matter is the strength of your soul. The threshold is closer than we think. So stay awake and stay sovereign. And thanks for joining me today. I'll see you next time.